In September of 1994, a strange event occurred in a school in Zimbabwe that baffled and captured the imagination of people, as the children of the school claimed to have seen and encountered beings that were totally out of this world. As the word spread of this incident, the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, a very well-known global news network and media channel, was one of the first to interview the students and report the incident to the world. Today, we take a look into and try to investigate this peculiar incident that is widely known as the UFO incident at Ariel School. But before we delve into the story, I am David McCoyd and would like to thank all our subscribers for being a part of this community and supporting us to the fullest. If you are into and like investigating the dark, the mysterious, the paranormal, and the unknown, consider subscribing and hitting the notification icon so you don't miss any new upcoming episodes. Also, please don't forget to like and share the video. Doing so will also help us move forward and make this community stronger. That being said, let's dive into today's story. The Earth we live in, comprising of around 8.1 billion people of various races, languages, cultures, and identities, is shared and inhabited by millions of animals and plants, which is diverse in itself. Since eons, a large number of our species, the humans, in its curiosity and quest for knowledge and understanding, have relentlessly been investigating and exploring the vast and unknown realm that exists and surrounds us. In this quest, we have encountered a great number of mysteries least understood by us that have rendered us confused, often terrorized our imagination, and subsequently led us to perceive that however or whatsoever knowledge we may have acquired and may credit ourselves to is inadequate to grasp the vast nature of the universe and the overall existence. And a number of phenomena and strange incidents it has brought upon us still remain beyond the scope of our understanding, frequently confronting and challenging us. Before we go further, let us look back in the past into a famous sci-fi novel, The War of the Worlds, written by H.G. Wells in between the year 1895 and 1897, that dealt with the invasion of the world by an extraterrestrial race. This book was able to capture the imagination of people, and later was picturized in a movie that was watched by millions, and a great number of people began to look up to the skies above, consisting of billions of stars, where a race of more powerful beings could be in existence, and may have even been observing us quietly. With this, let us dive into the incident. It was just another usual day in Ariel School, in the town of Rua, where children were attending their regular classes on Friday, the 16th of September, 1994. In between their classes at 10 a.m. break, most of the children were at the school ground going about their usual activities, when some students started seeing some silvery white objects in the sky. As other students too began to notice them, the objects suddenly started to fly closer towards them. The flying objects were round in shape and were flying with unusual maneuvers. And one peculiar thing the children noticed was that the flying crafts made no sound. As the children looked in astonishment, the objects hovered near the school ground for a while, and soon after began to descend and land silently. Moments later, as the vehicles had landed and the awestruck children gazed, some strange beings, dressed in some odd-looking black clothing, slowly began emerging from the vehicles. To this, the children were staggered and some terrified with what they were just witnessing. As the creatures stood there observing the children, the beings then tried to communicate with them telepathically, The children said that as the creatures looked into their eyes, they could telepathically hear the words in their heads. Some of the children later described what the beings had told them through this strange communication. As of now, the children aged between 6 to 12 years were frightened and terrified out of their wits with what had just happened, and many began to cry and tried to run away from the scene. But the children later said that as they tried to move their limbs to run, they realized that their body were totally paralyzed. The only thing they could do was to listen to what the beings had to say as they spoke into their minds. Some moments later, as it seemed the beings had finished delivering their message, they started turning back to their vehicles, and the paralyzed children could now slowly move their body again. The children ran back, some crying and screaming in horror as the unknown beings got back into their vehicles and flew, disappearing into the sky. As all the children were led back to their classes, there was a huge hue and cry about the incident. The children were terrified and in shock as one could hear a huge chattering about the incident. The teachers, in their bid to calm down the children, made them to concentrate on their studies. But in spite of the effort by the teachers, the commotion among the children did not stop. Soon, word about the incident began to spread far and wide. Some of the children were so terrified and traumatized by the event that they refused to go back to the school. As they explained what had happened to their parents and close ones, the school was hit by a barrage of questions on what was going on at the school and what had terrified their children to the core. The word soon caught the eyes and ears of the media, and soon, a number of media people reached the school to investigate. The BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, was among the first to reach the school and interview the children. Through the interviews conducted, the children were made to recount what exactly had happened, and were also asked to draw sketches of what they had seen. To this, many of the children drew similar and identical drawings of round disc-like objects, which looked like domes with windows and doors, together with figure of creatures with big wide eyes. The teachers too were interviewed, and many of them agreed that after talking and inquiring with the children and seeing their drawings, they believed that the children had come in contact with something strange that was out of this world. As the investigation progressed, the school principal, however, maintained that the children had seen something unusual, but refrained from making any conclusions. Following the investigations, a documentary film too was made by the filmmaker Randall Nickerson, in which many children were interviewed and were asked to make sketches of what they saw. Some of the children stated hearing buzzing sound like a hum, similar to the sound created by a bus. Some older children who were daring enough to venture close enough towards the vehicles said that the objects had a bright shining thing, akin to a window glass, from which they could see inside, and they were least prepared for what they saw. They said that they saw two small, black-clad beings with wide eyes walking about as if they were moving in slow motion. One of the younger children, when asked what the beings had said, recounted that through telepathy the beings wanted to tell them that humankind had been harming the earth with pollution, and consequently it would lead to the elimination of trees and people dying due to lack of air. They also added that the space is void of love, which can only be found down here on earth. and thus more people were drawn to Ariel School and the children were getting more terrified by the attention they were getting. Thereof, the children were also examined by a Harvard Pulitzer Prize-winning psychiatrist, Dr. John Mack, who made an in-depth study of the children's reaction to the incident, questioning whether the story was an imagination of one of the students, and was then followed by the rest. However, his study concluded that whatever the terrified children recounted were similar. The sketches drawn were correlative, and it could not have been a figment of their imagination or mass hysteria, and after a thorough scrutiny, determined that there was a presence of something extraordinary at the school on the 16th of September 1994. Dr. John Mack had put his reputation on the line with this report, and which in turn made this incident impossible to ignore. Of course, there are critics and skeptics who defy the truth of the incident, saying that it was a case of mass hysteria, as some students of the school had said that they did not see anything unusual at the school that day. It may be because not all children were in the playground during the break when the incident took place. Nonetheless, some skeptics say that mischievous children, in order to frighten other kids, may have donned black costumes and artificially fabricated the vehicles, all to look like alien beings, and enacted the whole episode. This must have worked and created mass hysteria among the children. Most of the teaching staff at the moment were in a meeting inside the school, so they could not witness the episode themselves. Some who have doubted the authenticity of the incident have maintained that 2 days prior, a Zenith 2 rocket was seen in the sky, creating a fireball, and this must have been responsible for all that happened with the children at the school, indicating and pointing to the direction of wishful thinking of the children, or maybe of someone trying to terrify the children and play a prank on them. It must be mentioned here that the story recounted by all the children, including some of the sketches drawn by them, were similar, so the act of misleading the kids, numbering to about 62, with uncontaminated minds could be incited to a lie, is exceedingly questionable. As per someone trying to play tricks on the children to frighten them, one must appreciate the amount of preparation to enact the episode, and with what intention. The incident of the Zenith 2 rocket was 2 days ago, so it seems very much illogical to connect the two incidents after a gap of 2 days where the atmospheric conditions must have changed. Here, it is most relevant to state that even after years, when the school children had grown up into mature adults, recounted the same word about what happened on that day when they were small kids, and their narrative did not change. The likelihood of other beings apart from us in the vast and unfathomable cosmos seems to be of great possibility, and is still a topic of speculation and of contemplation for humans. There has been numerous reported incidents and encounters throughout various parts of the world involving creatures, or beings of the third kind. Some say that various species of alien beings have been visiting us from thousands of years, and some have been covertly living in Earth, while others have claimed that the beings have secretly made deals with some of the most powerful nations, and the rapid growth of technology in today's world have only been possible with the help of these beings. In today's day of internet and media, it has become quite clear that there are several reports and incidents of encounters with UFOs and other phenomenons that have been classified by the government. Could it be that the governments actually know more than what is in the public domain? Skeptics, on the other hand, say that all the encounters with aliens are figments of our imagination, and our Earth could be the only place in the universe where all the elements are perfect for it to be habitable. But considering that on Earth itself, Various living organisms have been found in environments where scientists initially thought that life would be impossible in these extreme conditions. But we now know that these species have adapted and have been thriving in those conditions. Is it not possible that what environment we live in may not be suitable for a different species from the other side of the universe? And could they not be thriving in conditions that are extreme to us? And could it be that the civilization from a faraway planet in the universe are so advanced that they have the means to travel hundreds and thousands of light years to reach Earth? Or rather, the most relevant question would be, have they already reached? If the incident at Ariel School and related incidents elsewhere are to be believed, it seems we are already being visited by extraterrestrial beings, who, in some cases, have tried to communicate with us. Maybe there are more encounters to happen in the future with these beings. And who knows, you could be sharing your story with the world someday, being among the ones to witness the unknown. If you like what we do and would like us to bring more content to you like this one, please consider supporting us. As DarkTurf is at its early stages and we have a lot to bring to the table, we really need your help at this time. If you would like to support us, you can do so by buying us a cup of coffee and contributing towards the growth of the channel. To do so, you can find the link in the description below. If you cannot contribute at this time, a simple little gesture of hitting the like and the subscribe button will put a smile on our face. Until next time, take care.